Welcome to another episode of the Arkansas Football Recruiting Report with Otis Kirk. I'm Will Moclair. Otis, we got a list of names to talk about, but we got one commit this week. Wide receiver, we were talking about him last week. You said he was a 4-star, but nearly a 5. Ashton Roman. How exciting is that?
His dad played football at LSU. His mother ran track. I believe she was a track player there. But his dad, Mark Roman, was a safety, played in the NFL for several years. Ashton's got great bloodlines, but he was still. I mean, this is a kid that can come in and play immediately. Receiver's got the hands, got the speed, got the athleticism, total package. Yeah, he's a 4-star, but I mean, he is just unbelievable player, and Arkansas did a great job getting him. They beat out a lot of great schools to get him, and just that's how you win. That's the difference makers. You get difference makers, and they've got 3 of them at wide receiver. You got Ashton, you got Courtney Crutchfield, and you've got C.J. Brown. That's 3 different makers. So that's how you win. Coach Guyton's doing a great job over there this season recruiting. He's always done a great job, but I mean, he's really doing an outstanding job here, getting 3 difference makers. I mean, after getting all those transfers last year and stuff, and going out there on the recruiting trail and keeping kids at home like Courtney and C.J., and then going into Texas and getting one of the best receivers in the country, not just in Texas, but in the country.
That's definitely excited to hear. Awesome that we could land Ashton. Now, Otis, there's a number of announcements coming up this week. Who should we talk about first? Salman Bridges?
Let's go Salman Bridges first. That's a new one. I mean, he's not a new name. We've talked about him. He's that 6'4" cornerback who visited a couple of weeks ago, and I raved about him on here. But he just announced that he will announce this Friday. I don't have a time yet. He just said, I'll be announcing this Friday. But Arkansas, Texas, TCU, Southern Cal, those are some of the main schools involved there. Believe it or not, I feel reasonably well about him. And if you could, he's a legit 6'4" corner, Will. I mean, You don't see cornerbacks 6'4". That's what you need to match up with these big receivers out there. And if you could pull he and Ashton Roman, Ashton Bethel Roman, that's almost a tongue twister with somebody like him. But if you could pull those 2 in here in the last couple of weeks, that'd be huge, man. I mean, those are big time players out of Texas. They're as good as they get at their position. That's as good as you can get. And I'm talking about nationwide. And there again, they've done a good job. Coach Woods and Coach Wilson recruiting those cornerbacks, and they're getting them in here. But if they can pull Salman in, that will be, I mean, regardless of what happens elsewhere, if they get, like I said, if you pull in Bethel Roman and you pull in Salman Bridges in the last week and a half, whatever that will be, that's some great recruiting right there.
Yeah, that would be awesome news if we get it. Let's jump into the offensive tackle category. Fletcher Westfall out of West Virginia.
Yeah, at Leesburg, West Virginia. Big kid, 6'9", 6'10", probably 335 pounds. Probably 6'9", 335 pounds. I don't think he's 6'10". I would say 6'9". But that's legit. There again, I mean, they've had some good-looking kids in here for visits, and Fletcher's certainly one of them. Been here several times. If you put a gun on me and said, where's he going? I would say Clemson.
Okay.
But that's why recruiting is recruiting. I mean, I would have told you a week ago that Chris Johnson was coming to Arkansas too on there, and he went to Arizona State. Even if he didn't come to Arkansas, I would have said Oregon. And Chris Johnson went to Arizona State. Recruiting's crazy. My money would be on Fletcher Westfall, but I don't have any money, and that's probably why I don't. But I wouldn't bet him. No, seriously, I don't bet. But if I did, and just for a fun bet, I would say Clemson with Fletcher Westfall, but we'll see. And like I said, I would have said Chris Johnson to Arkansas a week ago on here, or I think I probably did a week ago on here. I probably said that. So anything can happen, but I'm picking Clemson for Westfall. But hopefully he proves me wrong. It'd be nice to be wrong and be it be it with Arkansas and not say he's going to Arkansas and then he goes to Arizona State. So, Chris texts me, and I'm thinking this is in the bag, man. I mean, this kid texts me and everything. I had private messages with him, and I'm thinking that's a done deal. And the kid goes to Arizona State. He hit that day.
You never know what's going to happen.
State. Yeah, recruiting.
I mean, at the end of the day, we're predicting what 17-year-old minds are doing, and tell you what mine was doing back then.
Yeah, and I probably put too much emphasis on Jaden Allen, his teammates coming to Arkansas, and they wanted to play together. I probably put too much on that, but I had reasons to think Chris was coming here. But it started changing on the 4th about 11 or 12 o'clock that day. I think he announced it like 7:30 that night. I think he ended up being about 7:45. But I started getting the inklings about 11 or 12 that day, about noon, that he was probably going to Arizona State. And like I said, that surprised me because I honestly thought he would go to Oregon if he didn't come to Arkansas. And we're talking about Westfall, not Johnson. I'm sorry I got off on that. But Westfall is 6'9", 335-pound offensive tackle, would be a nice get. You have McRoy go to Oregon. And so, it'd be nice if Cody, he pulled in a couple of nice guards with the kid out of Lexington and, of course, Kobe out of Fort Smith Southside. Got a couple of nice guards there, possibly centers, but be nice to get Westfall. They could always use another big offensive tackle, but we'll see what happens. I just don't be surprised if it's Clemson, though.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, Otis, I know we've talked about Brian before, linebacker at Valley View.
Brian Huff, we talked about him and Braylon Russell both. We've talked about them so much, and they deserve all the publicity they get. They're two big-time players. I mean, Brian's down to Arkansas, Missouri, UCL, and UNLV is the other one. Oklahoma State, Notre Dame were some of his other offers that he didn't visit, or take official visits to. There again, if I was betting right now, I would bet on Missouri. I think they've done a good job. This kid was a lock for Arkansas when Michael Shearer was here. He was a lock for Arkansas, almost committed. But then during the coaching changeover, I think a little bit got lost in transition there. I think Travis Williams has done a good job and put a great presentation on him for when he was here on his official visit. But I'm just feeling Missouri on that. Hope I'm wrong. There again, I hope I'm wrong. I'm just giving you my gut feelings on these kids. But Brian, there again, I know he's been a Razorback fan for quite a while, almost committed when the others before the coaching change on defense. So I know he likes the Razorbacks, and I don't think it's out of the question that he could surprise some folks and commit to Arkansas on the 12th, I believe, is when he's committing.
Yeah, and I know you said there before that your gut is sometimes wrong. I feel like your gut is right a lot of the time, so I don't want to discount
it's right most of the time, but I have not been told he's going to Missouri. If I had, I wouldn't even be saying that because I don't.
Sure.
I'll let the kids tell you where he's going. I'm just telling you just a gut feeling on him is. I could pick up the phone and find out where he's going, but I like to let the kids announce. But like I said, I do know he liked Arkansas. I do know Brian was on the verge of committing. He was at the monster camp when I went to Benton, and he was actually Braylon was there too. He didn't participate. Actually, Brian was he and the Wimberley kid from Bauxite, who's got offered since then from Arkansas, but they were probably the top two performers or recruits who performed at camp. And Brian, I know he likes Arkansas, and he's a big kid. And I've had people question his size and stuff. This kid probably 6'4", 225, 230. I mean, honestly, he looks like a defensive end. I mean, he's a big kid. He may be 6'3.5" and not 6'4", but his size is not in question. Anybody questions Brian Huff's size has not seen him in person. He is legit 6'3.5", and I tend to say 6'4", and I don't remember they measured and weighed him over at Monster Camp, but I think it was like 6'3.5", 6'4" without shoes. But he's legit. The size is legit. He's a good player.
Absolutely. Now the last one that we need to talk about, Braylon Russell, the only running back on this list out of Benton.
6'2", 230. 4-star, once was committed to Arkansas, and I know I'm repeating a lot of the stuff that we've said over and over.
Oh, it's fine. I mean, it is the season.
These are kids that's ready to make decisions. I mean, this is it. And honestly, of the 33 kids they brought in for visits, I think there's only like 8 or 9 left that have not announced something.
Yeah.
We're not 4 or 5 of those today. So it's going to be a small list after this week of kids that haven't announced a decision who have visited. It's you got Kendall Jackson coming up on 20. But as far as Braylon Russell, Braylon is down to Arkansas. He did eliminate Baylor since last week. It's down to Arkansas, Tennessee, and South Carolina. And here's an interesting deal. I talked to somebody who's fairly close to the family, and he worded it this way. He doesn't know where Braylon's going, doesn't think at that time, this has been 2 or 3 days ago. At that time, he didn't think Braylon knew where he was going, but he put the odds at 40% Tennessee, 30% Arkansas, 30% South Carolina. Now, a lot of people think South Carolina's out of the mix for him. This guy told me, do not count South Carolina out, that they have, he feels like that Braylon could go there and start, which is, they could start as a true freshman there, and playing time's important to him. And he's weighing all that. Well, Tennessee's kind of been the favorite for a while, but he's weighing all that against a school he was once committed to and staying in state, representing your home state. All that's weighing on Braylon. And there's people putting pressure on him to go out of state, or people putting pressure on him to stay in state. Braylon's got a lot of pressure on him. He will announce on the 14th at 6:30. By the way, Brian Huff's at 6 o'clock on the 12th. Mm-hmm. But Jonesboro, but Braylon is 6:30 on the 14th. Just like I said, Tennessee, Arkansas, South Carolina. My gut goes with Tennessee, but hopefully it doesn't go that way. Hopefully it goes the other way, and Arkansas gets him. But whatever, somebody's gonna get a great running back right there, and great linebacker, great offensive tackle. All these kids we've talked about, great cornerback. These are not average players. Every single one of them we've talked about today are 4-stars. Yeah, Bridges, Russell, and Westfall. Yeah, they're all 4-stars. All these kids are 4-stars. So, and they're legit too. Even Bethel Roman we talked about was a 4-star. So, yeah, these are not marginal recruits that we're talking about today. We're talking about some of the cream of the crop, some of the top uncommitted kids left in the country, not just on Arkansas list, left in the country on anybody's that recruited them. Yeah. So it's going to be interesting. This is going to be an interesting week. Roll up your sleeves and get ready, and don't overreact, because there could be some bad news this week. There could be some bad.
Well, hopefully the Razorbacks are able to get a couple of these kids.
Yeah. If they can get any of these kids, would be great. And they probably got an uphill. One thing about it, though, it's one thing to have an uphill battle, maybe on Westfall, because he's from West Virginia. But it's another thing when you got the in-state, and you got the kid in-state. And I know Brian Huff and Braylon Russell like the Razorbacks. They grew up loving them. So, I mean, that's pulling at both of them. And that's what, and ultimately today is I believe, like the 8th or something. So, I mean, or 9th, whatever it is. But I mean, there's still time that, they'll work on these kids and see what they can come up with here on the 12th and the 14th on Huff and Russell.
Yeah, absolutely. Otis, I was wondering what you had to do at 3. And now I'm looking at my NBA Summer League schedule, and I'm noticing that the Lakers conveniently play at 3 today. Are you rooting for Nick Smith, or are you rooting for the Lakers?
Lakers, man. I hope Nick has a great game, but I hope the Lakers win.
Sure. No, I'm just giving you a hard time.
No, I know. Right. No, I hope Nick has a great game, but I've always been a Nick Smith fan. But no, I'm for the Lakers, though. I mean, and then they got Jordan Walsh Wednesday night.
Yes, they do.
Yeah.
Yes, they do. I don't know if you saw that Celtics game the other day, but he's looking pretty good.
Yeah, they're all looking good. Councils look good. These are good ball players. We knew that when they were here. Anthony Black had a big game last night. I mean, I think he was 7 of 10 from the field. I'm sure Kevin talked about that.
Yeah.
Land, but I'm just saying that this is the NBA, and these are all good players. Somebody got 4. Those teams got 4 good players from Arkansas, and should be a good game.
Yeah, it's exciting to see all these kids. But Otis, we appreciate you coming on. That's all the time we got. And for everybody watching, don't forget to check back in next week for another episode of the Arkansas Football Recruiting Report. Thanks, Otis.
Thanks, Will. Appreciate you, man.
Oh, anytime.